Well, welcome you all to Pour It Out with She and T. And did we miss last week?
Did we miss last week? Yes, because it was
Okay,
4th of July week. We did.
4th of July. Right, right. So we're back. Yeah, last week was the holiday for some. Wasn't a holiday for me, but you know, anyway, that's a whole nother topic. Some people
Oh,
what?
go ahead. I'm listening to you. I'm
Some
trying to
people
see.
celebrate, the 4th of July. And for me, that's not something I celebrate. But, each their own. Okay.
Let
So
me.
pour out.
Where you at? You see me? What
I,
happened? There
I
I
can't.
am.
Okay. Right. Okay. So pour it out for those of you who don't know is we are friends. And so it's a place where Shiante named, well, she didn't really name it. She saw it on some show, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So go
I
ahead.
want to say Steel Magnolias, but that's not it. That's the old movie. But it's something Magnolias. I can't even think about it right now what it is. But it's
It's
where,
a new version of it, right?
yeah, pretty much a
Mhm.
newer version of Magnolias, something along those lines. And basically, what happened was I saw them coming together as friends over margaritas, um, talking about life, and they called it pour it out, like pour it out. And so I was like, you know what, that might be a good thing to incorporate with friends, to have, because we get so busy in life, to where life just is life in, and before you know it, you haven't talked to your friends about any of it. So
Mhm.
I wanted to be intentional about pouring it out with my friends and sharing with my friends. Some things I share publicly, like what we do now, and some things are just between us.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I think the first step is making it intentional.
Yes. It's so important because most people have, I'm sorry, I'm trying to see if it's on Facebook, if I can see it. Most people have busy schedules. And so a lot of people do nowadays go based on a schedule. I know I do, right? To make it intentional so that we have this time each week. You know, we have to schedule it. And that's just life for those who have a life to me. That's me, my thinking.
I think
So,
that that's something important. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, 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 go ahead. So that's just what we do. We come on here and, okay, yeah, so it is there.
It's on Facebook. Okay.
Hmm. All right. So, yes, we come together and we're able to, like she said, some things we do discuss. It's a safe space to a point for us, right? So there are some things we will discuss on here and some things that we may have to go a little bit deeper, and it may just not be Facebook or YouTube shareable. Let's just say that. So we keep some things to ourselves, but we, for the most part, do share a lot of whatever is going on in our lives on
Mm-hmm.
this live here. So feel free
Mm-hmm.
to join in if you have any comments or questions that you may have. Feel free to drop them, as you join in on the conversation. And we don't know where the conversation may start from or where it may go. And the
Mm-hmm.
other thing was the pour it out is we have our own beverage, right? So we may not have margaritas because I got to work later. And so I just have a red cup with it's just lemons and water in there. Yeah. So
And
that's mine for today.
normal Stanley.
Hmm.
Especially it's been so hot. Listen, I ain't really got no room for no liquor no more because it's too hot. It's just too hot, and it's in the middle of the day. And I'm only 37, but I feel like I'm starting to get hot flashes, and so I feel like alcohol increases that.
It does.
And
It does.
so I think that I was just like thinking about it even more in detail, and I'm thinking that I'm going to make the decision to like not drink. And if I do, then on like occasion, like but I I don't think I'm gonna be able to drink much longer. I just don't. I just it's. It's not doing well with my body. It's just not.
It's so true. I mean, I do notice when I drink that I have so many more hot flashes. That's for real. So, they studies do say like alcohol does increase, and I think it's the sugar content in there. The sugar content in the alcohol that causes the hot flashes to occur more. But it is a fact. Like I see that definitely any alcohol is instantly like whoo, whoo, whoo.
Too
So
hot.
yeah, yeah. And you better be glad that you got that heat there because we don't, and we don't have the sun either. So,
What do you mean? It's cold there?
well, it's not cold, but it's like 70 degrees.
That's cold.
Yeah, what facts, right? So,
That's cold.
hey, James.
James
Oh,
Bailey
can
on
you
here?
see? Can you see? You can't see the
No, I can't see him. Let me see.
oh.
I'm gonna put my. Let me see. I'm gonna put my
Do it on
Facebook up.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. I'll put my Facebook up, and then I'll be able to see everything coming
Oh,
through. And
wait,
I'll
maybe I'll
just.
put the comment up for you. There you go.
Oh, listen to him. He a trip. I can see it. Hey, babe.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think that for me, and also I feel like for me, and I'm trying to get to a point to where I make everything more about me when it comes to change, because then I don't want anybody to feel like I'm imposing my beliefs on them, because we are at different points in different phases in our lives, right? And so for me, I also have realized why I feel like I need to just kind of let drinking go is that I can't sleep at night. Like I struggle with sleeping. Like it affects my sleeping,
Okay.
my sleep pattern. So I know I'll go to sleep one night and I won't have anything to drink, and I'll sleep, you know, because I had started being like, why am I staying up so, late or waking up and whatever. It's really not me staying up late. It's waking up, not staying asleep.
Mhm.
And I definitely have noticed an increase if I have some type of alcoholic beverage, especially like around like 7 or 8, like about before I go to sleep, 6, 7,
Mhm.
8 in the evening time.
Mhm.
It impacts my ability to be able to sleep throughout the night.
Oh wow.
hmm And so I'm trying to get Kaden to think about things that way, because as we talked about, growing up with like all these strict rules and guidelines, I think it takes away from you as a person. And so we're trying to teach Kaden to listen to her body and make
Mhm.
choices based off of how she feels, not based off her feelings, but like thinking about it. Let's think about it. What's your body saying, like your heart, how are you feeling, but also your gut, your intuition, the acceptance of what you're doing. So I guess I should start it over. For me, it starts in the heart. Like, what are you feeling? And what are you thinking? And then can you accept what you're thinking and what you're feeling? Because if you can't, then more than likely you may need to change something about that before you finally decide to like do it, you know?
Mhm.
And so I'm trying to teach her that. Like with me, I don't feel well when I drink alcohol. Like what does it do? Like I'm telling you, it impairs my sleep. It gives me hot flashes. That's literally what I'm feeling. And then I'm thinking, oh, this is probably tied back to alcohol. So now what is my gut telling me about these conclusions that I've come up with? Am I in
Mhm.
agreement with saying that I probably need to let it go? And my gut feels calm. So to me, that's saying that I probably need to make the decision to just not do it anymore.
Mhm. How did you know it was alcohol, or what made you think it was alcohol that was causing the hot flashes?
Well, because if I drank it, I would give them, and if I didn't, I wouldn't. Like it's and you could for me, I could almost tell because it's almost instantaneous. Like I'll take a couple sips, and then the next thing I know, I'm like this. Whew, whew.
That is so
Like I
true.
just it's just a you can it's like it's an undeniable feeling of heat that just takes so. And like I'm not saying alcohol used to always make me feel warm on the inside,
Mhm.
but now it's a different type of heat that's taking over. It's like the difference between 70-degree weather and 90-degree weather. Like it's an increase.
It's like an inferno. Like you, for me, like I feel it like creeping up
For
my
your
neck,
neck,
and I'll be like, ooh, and then everywhere else
like
just starts
here.
to get hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's uncontrollable. Yeah. So I like what you said, like really processing, even teaching her that, because that's something that you don't hear a lot. Like teaching, what are you feeling? And then where is that coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you agree with what? Because guess what? There are consequences. And so for me, like sometimes I do drink. I don't drink that much anymore. I used to drink, and that's another topic, but I used to drink every day when my husband would drink. And I don't want to blame him. I don't want it to be like it's a him thing, but he would come home and then I would drink along with him, right? We'd have a drink or two. And so just as of lately, I haven't been doing that because why haven't I been doing it? Let me really think about that. Hmm. Routine has been different, I guess. Like,
That's what I
um,
was gonna say.
yeah, it's just
And your
not,
environment.
yeah, that too. So for me, it has been helpful because I do notice them hot flashes have been lessened for
Mm-hmm.
sure. They have been way less than they have. And that's I'll take that over having a drink. I'll take that over having a drink.
Because at the end of the day, it's gonna. That's the one thing that I like about um our bodies. And that's why I think it's very important for you to get to know your body, because usually when you do something, it's gonna keep giving you the same result. Like it's not gonna like every time I drink from now on, I'm probably gonna get those hot flashes, and I'm probably gonna not be able to sleep. You know what I'm saying? And then it'll
Mhm,
probably just keep getting worse, whatever,
mhm,
because it's my body's way of trying to tell me that you need to make a
mhm,
change. You see what I'm saying?
mhm,
So
mhm.
you got to get to a point where you say to yourself, I'm tired. Like the body's not going to stop doing what it's doing. You
Mhm.
have to make a decision to stop doing what you're doing to your body.
Right. Your body is speaking. That's also, I like that you said that your body is telling you what you need or what you don't need. Because as I think about it,
Mm-hmm.
my sleep is interrupted because I'm sweating during the night already in and of itself. Add a drink on top prior to, and it's unbearable sleep, right? Like tossing and turning,
Tossing and turning.
trying to get cool in some type of way.
Throwing the covers on, throwing the covers off.
Yeah,
My husband likes to like sleep under me, and I'm like, you are a
too
furnace. Please,
hot.
please. Like I
Yeah,
can't take it.
yeah.
And just understanding, that drinking, and that's just me trying to come to a realization about my body. It could be a 50, 60, 30-year old woman that is pretty much like, I'm good. I think that that's what I'm trying to say. Like we got all these scriptures and all these things that say, are these rules with religion that say, oh, you don't need to drink, you don't need to smoke, you don't need to have sex, you don't need to do that. You gotta let people live their life and figure that out for
Come
themselves.
on.
I
Yeah.
think it's a good guideline. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But most of the time, just with us being imperfect and us being and us being mortal individuals, I think that we don't learn by just somebody telling us what to do. We learn through experience.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have to experience things one time and they say, oh, I got a classmate, she had a baby when she was 16. She'll have no more kids. She had no more kids. So she experienced that one time, was like, I'm done. Like that's, where some people, they might have to go through things multiple times before they realize, oh, this is like with me with drinking. I've been drinking and I've been having that kind of stuff going on with me. But now I'm tuned in to a point where I, like you said, I would rather not have these side effects more than I would like to have a drink.
And that goes to anything that you said, right? Like, so like you said, the Bible does have guidelines, but experience some of those things that the Bible says don't do, right? You understand why they are there, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
and I like to have freedom, and I like that God gives us free will. So you
Mm-hmm.
can do it if you want to, right? Go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
have sex before marriage. You don't know what that may cause, what all can come up from that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh Drink, get drunk, do drugs, party, don't go to work, whatever. Do whatever it is that
YOLO.
you exactly. But guess what? It's going to be some consequences from that. Either way, there's consequences. So, you know, your body will really help you to learn very quickly some of those consequences.
And I think that the best example of that is in Genesis with Adam and Eve. You know, it's the beginning for a reason because it's showing you how God intended us to live, and then based off of what happened, how we will live our life moving forward. He showed you that He is not a punishing God. He turned the world into a very consequential, if that's a word, type thing. Like it's all based off of consequences now. Like the choices, we always had the choice. He never told Adam and Eve, like, do not do this, and I'm going to strike you dead if you do it. Like he
Hmm.
basically said, I'm telling you not to do it. Now you make a choice whether you want to do it or not. You know, and I think that, and then he didn't come to them yelling at them and fussing at them when they did do it. He then tried to help them to accept, here we go, the acceptance piece, that they did do it, and now what am I going to have to do as a result of doing this, you know? And I
Hmm.
think as a parent that's so important because we do tell our kids, don't do this, don't do that, but when they do it, what's your response?
Hmm.
How do you respond? Do you yell at them? Do you make them feel bad? Do you belittle them? Or do you say, okay, you did that, so what did you learn from that? What did you what is going on the inside of you now that you did it? Like how do you feel? Like, you know, um you just have to, I'm trying to get into that mindset now of being that way. Cause I was like, I told you not to do it, blah 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 type of mom. But I'm really trying to take a step back and say, okay, well, you did that. I told you not to do it, but you did it anyway. And now do you see why I told you not to do it? You know, do you see, you know, you did it on your own, and that's showing autonomy. But I want you to see the effects and the impact in what you did. Do you see that?
Hmm. Absolutely. I mean, as adults, that's something that we should even do, right? Like you yelling at husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, right? You don't have control of them. You only have control of yourself. So when you're yelling and it's taking you out of yourself, right? Like you have to look at why. The best model, like you said, was in the beginning, how God was still merciful. He still
Mm-hmm.
had grace. He didn't yell.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking to myself, you know, because yelling is that's easy to do, right? But that's also trying to control the situation, trying to control it instead of allowing the other person to really be able to process. You can process much better in a less hostile environment, right? It is
Mm-hmm.
what it is. You did whatever it is you did. But if the environment is where maybe you're getting asked a question, you know, in a, you know, loving way instead
Mm-hmm.
of a harsh way, then
Mm-hmm.
it helps the person to process better.
So, and you said that yelling, and I've been doing a lot of what should I call it? I've been doing a lot of soul work because I think I said it like a couple months ago that I wanted to go like on a soul journey. So I've been doing a lot of soul work about like things like yelling and, you know, things like that, overreacting in situations. And what I'm realizing is, you know, I read a book a while ago and it talks about like Christ's way, the church's way, and culture's way of dealing with things. And what I realized is that yelling is a cultural norm in some cultures. In the
Mm-hmm.
African American culture,
Mm-hmm.
yelling, shunning, ostracizing, that is a norm in our culture on how to process our anger and our
Whooping.
disappointment, beating.
Yeah.
All of that is a part of our culture's way of dealing with things. And I think that when and then add on top of that, the church's way is to then add a scripture on top of that to justify you doing whatever you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so those two ways, you have to think about how that truly plays in on the person that you're doing it to. Then you have this manipulation coming into play. You have all these things, this narcissism, all these pieces that are starting to come, and it has nothing to do with how Jesus wants us to handle ourselves or other people. Christ
Mhm.
comes in, like we're saying. I truly believe that Christ's way is what he showed us in the Bible. We need to learn how we're not perfect and nobody else around us is perfect. We got the same issue. Nobody's perfect. And so when somebody chooses to venture out into imperfection, first of all, we got to realize that our turn may be 5 minutes later to venture out because that's just how we are. But in that moment, we have to learn how to give people grace. We have to learn how, and I'm not saying that you nullify your feelings.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is respect or learn how to accept what that person is and what they did. And then if there needs to be some commentary that goes along with it, learn how to provide that in a non confrontational way.
So all of what you said now, okay. We got to look at the root too of why these are norm in the African American in black households.
Mm-hmm.
Where did it come from? Because that's how in slavery we were disciplined, for any and everything, yelled at, beat. All these things came from
Mm-hmm.
there, right? So we really have to be woke enough to see that that is what was really what is the word, transferred to us, right? This is how we then started doing things with our family. Like this became a norm. So knowing that Christ's way is not that way, we got to start working in a different direction from what was taught to us. And it still just keeps showing up, in our generations over all of these years, that it has transpired.
So slavery is over, but we're continuing to entangle ourselves in it by keeping up with the practices that held us in bondage from the very beginning.
Hmm.
But it's
Yeah,
the way that we know. you know,
exactly, right.
not and it's crazy because you mean to tell me I don't know what my great 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 grandma did in the kitchen? This is how strong this is now. I
Exactly.
don't know I can't give you one tip on what she did in the kitchen, how she ran her house, but yet and still something like abuse has transferred all the way down
Yep.
hundreds of years later.
Hmm.
That's how much control. And to be honest with you, I don't want to have that much control because that's actually pretty scary that something had such a hold and a stronghold on a culture and on a race that it is still alive and well today, and it's being transferred, like you said, from generation to generation as a normal thing.
Hmm. Hmm. And now they have this soft parenting, right? So now you've gone to almost the opposite where the parents are so soft that they're not even guiding, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
allow them to do whatever it is they want to do. So either end is dysfunction, right? And people, a
Both.
lot of times people say, I'm gonna do the opposite of what the person did
Mm-hmm.
or what was done. But at
Mm-hmm.
either end is some dysfunction. You have to get to some type of mid ground. There needs to be some guidance.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, soft life parenting, that definitely wouldn't have been me. But then again, I need to move more from the strict,
Mm-hmm.
this is how it's gonna go way of thinking. Yeah.
I feel like James and I did both. We did the strict and we did the soft life because he pretty much grew up in soft life and I grew up in strict. So getting married, we talked about this on our podcast on Monday about blending things together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one of the ways that you see blending um shown the most is, of course, through marriage, but also through parenting. Like, you have to know what to take from this and what to take from that. And it's not, when you get married and when you come together, I don't think anything is, oh, it's my way, or oh, it's his. Like, you have to learn how to take the good from one thing, the good from the other, and create a new thing. That's why it says two became
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think James and I both have done the strict parenting, and we've done the soft parenting, to where now we see that neither one of those work effectively. They both yield the same result, which is disrespect from the child, like they don't respect you.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're moving more into like interactive parenting,
Mm-hmm.
to where, like I said, it's more of, I'm telling you what you don't need to do, and I'm telling you, like, I'm providing this guidance for you and telling you like why you should do this, why you shouldn't do this. We are having a lot of talks about it. And then we're allowing you to like live your life. And then if you make a mistake, or if you decide to do something outside of our parameters, we're not threatening you. We literally are now sitting down and saying, okay, well, you chose to do this after we expressed our concern and you not. But I mean, how do you feel now that you did it? You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of like, especially with her moving into teenage years, it's things that she wants. Like, she wanted a Snapchat and all that. We gave her the rules. It's like, okay, we're gonna give you this Snapchat. But these are the rules. And we told her, like, we're not gonna be on your phone monitoring it every day. Cause one thing that I've learned that is an age old, that transcend time, is that when I need to know something, oh, I'm gonna find, it's gonna just slap me right in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to tell her all the time, I'm like, don't think you're getting away with anything. Um, because when it's time for me to know about it, oh, it's gonna come straight to me, because that's
Mm-hmm.
how God works. And so I told her that, and so she's like, okay. And so we have to trust that what we've taught her so far, she's applying the principles, but we can't be so tight up on her that we don't let her learn.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's I think that James and I have done a great job of trying to break that generational cycle. It's taken us 13 years, Lord, almost. But we are finally getting to a place of understanding that this is what we feel comfortable parenting her. Again, when we was going through, and I was parenting her in a strict way, and it really was me, because that's when my James never really liked doing that to her, but it was more comfortable for me because that's what, how I was raised, and so I think that I was doing a lot of the whooping and all this, yelling and berating, all this stuff. And I was doing it, but something in my gut was not feeling right. Like, I was still doing it, but I feel like I was doing it because I didn't know what else to do,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know. And
It's like you
so,
said that
mhm.
it transcended through all those generations, and you didn't know what to do because what was shown in front of you. You knew what you saw,
And what worked, or what seemed to work, you
right?
know.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it? It may be working, physically, like what you see. You might get a response and a result. But what is it doing internally, like mentally, emotionally, to this person? And I think that I really had to start considering that, and like really thinking about that, because I think a lot of times that, yes, you may get a result in one way, but if it's hurting somebody with how you're treating them, then you shouldn't be happy because you got instant gratification, you got a result right away. Sometimes what I'm realizing is, when you are doing something different and you're implementing change in that transformation mindset versus a transfer mindset, usually you don't see results right away. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
patient and wait on it to show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it took for y'all to see that either way didn't work, right? Soft life or the strict way of disciplining didn't work, for y'all to come up with something creative, right? There was a problem that existed and y'all came up with something else. So that's the mid ground, right? That
Mm-hmm.
takes away the dysfunction. Now it's something centralized that is, workable. And that's how it should be, you know. It's trying it, it's working through it, it's this is not working. That takes time. As you said, it takes a lot of time to come up with something that's going to be effective.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that, with us for sure, just her being an only child too. I think that's been hard because, we and her being our first child, she is like we're trial and error with her. It's we don't know it. And, I just think that the benefits of the interactive parenting is that first we had to accept that she wasn't perfect.
Hmm.
You have to come to a realization because we realize is whether you strict parent them or you soft parent them, at the end of the day they still imperfect. Like, it doesn't take that away. Like, so you have to ask yourself, what is your goal as a parent? Are you trying to make them seem as if they're imperfect to society? Because yeah, whenever they fall outside those lines, you're gonna be upset about it. For us, we just got to the point of like, look, we're just trying to raise you to be a good person, a presentable person for society. And so for me, good people make mistakes. Good people aren't perfect people. And so when I took that standard off of her, which was a very unlogical standard, I think that changed my outlook on how to parent her.
Yeah. So it's a lot of parenting, reflecting, I guess, reflecting on yourself from what I'm hearing from you. Because me and Tyrone don't have children together. When we got together, our children were teenagers, and trying to blend
Mm-hmm.
us along with blending teenagers, that was a whole nother story, a whole
Yeah.
nother ball game. But we didn't have much time. We didn't have 13 years, right? We had to just jump right in and do what we knew to do. But I like the way that you're talking the interactive parenting. Like that is I think it's a good standard, um,
Mm-hmm.
because it implements both soft life and then the strictness, but in a healthy way.
In a healthy, mild mannered way.
Mm,
Like we talk, what we do now is like I said, we always lay the standard out to her of what we think. Like, don't do this or don't do that or do it like this or do it like that. And we let her make her choice about which way she wants to go. And then if, she does what we tell her or what we think is best and she gets a good result. Also, we might tell her what we think is best and she might do it. We allow time for feedback too. Like, I tried it that way and it didn't work.
It didn't work
And it's
for
like,
her.
okay,
Maybe it wasn't best for her.
right. And so you
Mm,
have to allow feedback too. You have to allow feedback, not just when they get things wrong, but when you get things wrong. Like, you
mm,
have to
mhm,
allow that feedback because what I think that does then is that because I think a lot of times kids grow up thinking that their parents are perfect based off of the standards that the parents put on the kid. But eventually the child gets old enough to where they see too that no matter how much you try to put up a shield, you're not perfect either. And
mm.
so and that can sometimes be disappointing because it's like, how dare you put all these standards on me, but you got all this stuff going on with you too. It comes to a point in life, if you raise your children in a perfection mindset, they grow up and that mask comes off, and when it comes off, that veil comes off of their eyes. When they see you for who you are, sometimes that can be too much for a kid. And so we try to teach Katie now that we're not perfect and that we make mistakes, and we like to take ownership over the mistakes that we made.
Because I think that's part of the issue. Part of the issue is parents are saying these things, but they're also not revealing things that they have gone through, so that the kid can see that, oh, yeah, you aren't perfect, right? And you take ownership of that. I just want you to be better. I don't want you to
Mm-hmm.
have to repeat the same mistakes that I did. So, sometimes it's really just being transparent and vulnerable with your kids so that they can
Mm-hmm.
see that you've made these mistakes. You coming down hard on me, is because of the mistakes that you made. But a lot of times the kids don't see that. All they see is you're coming down hard on me,
Mm-hmm.
So it could be more sharing, you know,
Yes.
engaging of, I'm sharing this with you because this hopefully will be helpful. So you don't have to go down the same pathway that I went down, so I'm willing to put myself out there. Even though I'm the parent, I'm still imperfect. I'm still human, right? And that's what I think would be more helpful in households, instead of taking this authority, and using it in a way that is, to me, not the most beneficial. If you don't
Yeah.
share, the more you can
Mhm.
share with them, then if they go down that route, okay, they go that route, or they go a different pathway. It's all about learning. Can we use it for learning? What I went through is about helping you, so you can learn from my mistakes as well.
And what did Jesus do to reach the masses? He told stories.
Hmm.
That's how, and so how do you think you're going to reach like a 10, 11, 12 year old? You got to start telling them stories. But see, this is what I'm going to tell you too. Like you saying, you got to love you enough to be able to look back inside of you and be open enough and healed enough to be able to share that piece of you with your kid.
Well, that's the part, I think, that a lot of times as adults, they think I'm an adult. They don't need to know this. But why not? Why would you not share that with them? I don't understand. I mean, if you aren't maybe healed in that area,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be hard for you to share it with them, because then
Mm-hmm.
the kids are looking to you as this, authority figure, and they may think that you going to have it all together. But it is a space of learning to me if you share it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it's the best space of learning, and I think it builds trust because now you have a child that actually it can look up to you and see, oh wow, they're older than me, but they're still imperfect. They're still not perfect, and they can show me that they're not perfect. That instills respect. Like it brings on respect. And so yeah, I mean, I can't wait because I got so many stories to tell, Kaden. And I thought about it like from the time I was probably born until maybe 13, I lived a pretty boring life, like I was very much afraid, and that's another thing. As a parent, you can't raise your children in fear because then they will respond in fear. But
Yep.
eventually, one thing I will tell you is they will not be afraid of you. At some point, guess what they're more concerned about? Their friends, not
Hmm.
you. And that's when things start changing in a kid's life to where fear factors don't work anymore. Fear tactics don't work anymore. And so but if you instill in them a certain way of being more from a respectful place, then they're going to look and they're going to see their friends doing things, but they're going to remember that story. They're going to remember what you told them because you're going to have built that relationship with them.
Hmm.
You
Yeah. So
know,
sharing your stories builds relationship, with your
yes.
children, instead of fear tactics. And I heard that, I read actually that trying to impart that fear into them causes children to be liars, just very deceitful, because they
Yes.
can't themselves. They have to present this certain way. Otherwise, they're going to get dinged, for they're not able to have freedom to share how they really feel. So, fear tactics, that's not the best way to go about parenting. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like and then when you have it's one thing for it to pass down culturally or from like generations, right? It's a totally different thing when it starts to transcend across. Like you have friends that do it. You have church members that do it. Like so now everybody around you is doing it. Your family doing it, your friends doing it, your community's doing it. So now everything now looks like it's supposed to be done this way.
When you, what are you saying? Doing what?
Like the parenting in those ways, like the fear
Okay.
tactics and
Oh,
the
okay.
strict parenting or the soft parenting. It's easier to stay in that type of parenting
Mm,
when you don't have anybody around you that's trying to do something different.
mm, probably. Yeah.
So, cause like, like when my mom was raising me, you know, she had, she was at a church where in a missionary Baptist church, that's how all the kids was being raised. So she
Mm,
didn't think for one second like, oh, I'm come on, no, sorry, I'm doing something wrong here, cause everybody around her was doing it, so she thought it was the right way.
yeah. Hmm.
Sorry, I'm letting my dogs out. They crying.
Oh, that's okay.
You know how they can get. I'm gonna
Hmm.
sit out here for a while on this nice, pretty day.
Yeah.
It's
Let me
nice
see.
outside here.
Let me see some sun.
Oh, girl, let's see. Let's see.
Oh,
Look
I
at all
can
that
see it.
sunlight.
I can see it. I can
It's
see it.
so bright. Yeah, it's so bright. So I'm gonna go over here in the shade and kind of just relax. I got me a little project going. I started being a little gardener. I'm planting a lot of different things now.
Okay.
And so I'm watching everything grow and
I love that.
so
I
making a
love
little
that.
garden.
See it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was listening to Myron Golden today. He was talking about unleashing your potential, right? And well, somebody was interviewing him and she was asking about how do you know like you're in your purpose or your assignment. And he
Mm.
said bigger picture is basically knowing, I wrote it down, knowing and yielding to, like, first knowing and yielding to, whatever the now is, wherever the now is, and walking into that. Because in the long run, that's going to be a part of your purpose or assignment. A lot of times
Mm-hmm.
people don't realize that what you're doing now is because it's part of your assignment, and we get caught up in what is my purpose, but as you are doing,
Mm-hmm.
you will get to it. You will end up
Mm-hmm.
walking into that. So what are your thoughts on that? So for you then, in your now, what is your assignment or your purpose
Um, right now in my now, um,
or your doing? What is your doing as you are leading up? Because as we are walking in our assignments and purposes, they can change, they can shift, right? We can
mm-hmm.
start here and then we end up somewhere else. So, what do you think for yourself now? And then, even in thinking about that, like, do you have some sense of where that's leading you to, whatever it is that wherever you are?
Well, I think my now actually started in 2020. That's when my now, because I feel like I'm starting now to try to walk out my purpose. Because my now started when, um, 2019 when I decided to go to school to get my master's in counseling. I had no idea, and that was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I feel like this is what I'm being called to do. I'm bored and I need something to stimulate me. And I've always liked going to school. I've always liked to learn. And so I was like, okay, well, I can't even really tell. It's so weird, Tony, because I can't even tell you why, out of all the majors and careers, why it was just so on me to go into that field, right? Only thing I can remember is like I feel like my marriage was at a trying time and I've always struggled with parenting, like trying to get that right. And
Mm,
so I was like, well, maybe if I take these classes, it will help me be a better mom and wife. Those was my things in that moment where I wanted to be. And so that has evolved now over the past 4 years because it went from me just being a student. to me using and implementing some of those things in my home, to now using and implementing those things in the community through my substitution teachings and like on the softball field, if a girl is struggling, then talking to her. So I feel like I'm actually living in my purpose now. I'm actually starting to walk that out. I feel like I'm still in the very infancy phases of it, like but right now I'm just really using those skills what I learned in school and really practicing them in my marriage, um and in my parenting journey. Any opportunities I get to do it when I'm around kids, I like to do it. I like to try, which has definitely been what I will tell you about purpose. I think for me, I feel like purpose is very much so not about you and very much so about what's around you. So I think purpose is very challenging because it pushes you beyond you because it's bigger than you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, like we were saying earlier about the culture and this like living so much in the culture, I was challenged to step outside of the culture, and discover things like interactive parenting and, like just, I don't really know what I could call marriage yet, but just doing marriage differently too. Like date nights are a must. And even in friendships and relationships, knowing that planning and scheduling is not a bad thing. It's the hardest thing because a lot of times you've made friends around your your other beliefs. So when you try to practice this stuff, a lot of times you lose friends. But I think that that is a key to know that you're on your way to your destiny and to your purpose, because that means that you're implementing things that people around you are not ready to take. And but it's also saying that you are challenging yourself to keep pushing forward.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that for me, I do agree with that. Like purpose starts wherever you are, because that's how mine started. It started with me being an at-home mom, a retired military vet, and just trying to see what life had to offer me, and me just making the decision that okay, I'm just gonna go back to school. That has evolved into who I'm becoming today.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
What about you?
What's the question?
You were saying like your purpose. For me, I got that you were saying that purpose is about the now. You know, what is your now? Are you walking in your purpose? Do you feel like you're on to another purpose? What about you?
I'm in it fully.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I know I'm called to be a therapist. That's no question for me. I know that, and not just a therapist, but like to help. I love couples. Couples work is one of my things. Couples and then individuals, but and that has expanded from just women to men, as well. So just helping people. I know I am a helper, period,
Mhm.
hands down. Um, where my purpose is taking me is to work more on myself in this. And it's crazy because I listened to Eric Thomas today, ET, right? And he gave a scripture, and then I listened later to Myron Golden, and they gave the same scripture. So I know that's what God
Wow.
was saying to me. First
Yeah.
Thessalonians, and that's not even a scripture that we normally even look at, right?
So what was it?
Uh for 11 through 13.
Okay.
And then I got kind of this on my table. It's minding your own business, right? Don't be a busybody. Stay out. Everybody got their own stuff. Stop gossiping about others. Mind your own business. So that's
Mm.
right now is my purpose is minding my business. I'm really working on just expanding, expanding the business and now growing it from just being about me as the only therapist, but I really want to train other therapists because when I got out of school I was not trained, didn't know what to do, how to go, what direction to go in, and wanted to see clients, wanted to do one working in the therapy field, but didn't know what to do. So I really want to have like a training facility or training center where I can train like those who have just gotten out of school. They can come and get the training to know here are the steps. Because I didn't have,
Mhm.
nobody taught me. I had to like, I don't I and as I look around, I'm in like therapy groups. A lot of people say that they had to learn on their own. You're not taught that in school. You just taught to get this degree, and after that you thrown out there, you know.
Mhm.
So I really want to train those newbies. On whatever it is their goal is, wherever they're striving to be, that you can be successful and you don't have to do it on your own. Kind of like I guess, not a midwife, because the midwife would help deliver, but after you have the baby, right? The caretaker after, the one who helps to the baby to grow. I don't
Mhm.
even know what they're called, but that would be after you have the baby to help you to really get to where you're trying to go. So that's something new because at one point I really, even this year, was in a place where I had met with my ex supervisor, and was debating whether I was going to open up my practice to other clinicians. And after she told me all she been through and all, the ins and the outs, and that's her story, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But it was impactful because I did listen, and I know she has probably about 20 to 30 clinicians underneath her. So I really listened because I understand that it's not that easy. Like it can look easy from the outside, right? But I was really deterred, 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 right?
Deterred. Deterred.
Deterred,
Uh huh.
deterred, right? From hearing her story. Cause I'm like, yeah. And mainly about the financial part, because that's a whole nother thing aspect that they don't teach, right? They don't teach um about taxes and how do you really just go from here to here? How do you get from one space to the next? That's not taught. You got to learn it on your own, right? But that tax piece was real eye opener to me because I was like, you mean to tell me I'm gonna be making this amount, but I gotta pay out this amount in taxes? I might as well do it by myself.
Right.
So, you know, I sat on it for about, I met with her probably earlier in the year. So maybe February-ish.
Mhm.
And then one day somebody named Shiante Bailey said she wanted to do some therapy work.
Mhm.
And then, it just sparked again. So
Mhm.
I believe that that is where I'm headed. I'm
Mhm.
headed into doing a group practice. And,
Mhm.
I've applied for the group practice MPI. And so it's a thing, it's a whole thing, right? And that me being quiet is a whole part of it because this is something I don't know, and it is, I don't want to do damage to anybody. So it's for me to really sit and know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I believe that it's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm going with it. So now it's really just, I got a couple books I need to be reading. I probably need to do some more, what is it? Sitting with, um, paying for the information, just paying for the knowledge from my old supervisor and getting the knowledge. Because Myron Golden talked about that too. Take whatever it is you have in your hand, right? And then in order to get a shortcut. Find that person who's already doing it, pay them whatever it is that they're asking, and that's a shortcut way for you to get to where you need to be quicker, right? Where you need the things that you question that you may never get except trial and error, which trial and error can take you years and years, as you talked about with parenting, 13 years to get to where you are now, right?
Right.
Well, I'm not trying to wait 13 years to have to go through all these mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I can pay and get it done. So
Yep.
that's where I'm at now. Just really sitting in this newness and what that looks like. And I really want, I I I believe that telehealth had its place, but I also believe that in person has a place as well. So opening up a facility, of course, in Florida, it ain't gonna be here in Chicago. So opening up a facility, and then I've always had a dream of doing a all inclusive like wellness facility, so where I can bring speakers in and have healthy eating and have my own gym there. And now that I think about it as I'm talking, right, um as Myron said, the work, right, all work works. So if you're either being worked on or being you're either doing some work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm being worked on right now, um physically. When I work out in the gym, that is physical, physical fitness for me. But at some point I'll be able to, I told my trainer this the other day because this guy was in there and he was like, I told him what the trainer told him, pick up those weights and sit on this bench. I said, and this is what you're going to do. He said, you think you somebody trainer? I said, well, I will be. And so when I think about that, right, like me working out is not just for me. It is a work that's being done in me so that I will be able to train others. Maybe not like uh where I'm a certified trainer, but I really want to have where my clients will have the gym right there. So they can leave session or they can come before session and they can have a workout facility where they can go and work out. They won't have no excuses, right? The gym is right there. You leave out this door and go right there to the gym, right? And have some type of benefit package because they're coming to get therapy and then access to the gym. However, it'll work. You know what I'm saying? But I want everything to be there. And, that's been a thing. Um, that's been a thing for shoot, probably 10 years. Just having a facility, a wholeness facility. And so I know that that's going to come to pass for sure. But first, I believe that I'm being directed into doing this group practice first and then branching out. So that's where I am as far as assignment and purpose. And then now it is really just doing my work, becoming an expert in helping. How can I best serve those who will be a part of my practice? I want it to be a true, I haven't come up with the word yet. So my old supervisor used to say a team, but we wasn't a team because half of us didn't even know each other. So how is that a team?
Mm.
But anyway, I ain't trying to down her, but that's what I would say out my mouth. Like, how can you be a team? Team works together.
Yeah.
So I really want it to be, I don't want to say family. I want it to be definitely a safe space for all of us to be able to share. Because even though I may be the one training, I'm going to be trained as well. Because everybody who is a part of this practice is going to help each other. We're all going to do work to help each other. So I don't know yet. I don't feel the whole family thing, right? But I feel like it'll be something unusual,
Yeah.
something different. We're all connected. We all feel connected. And that's most important, right? Not just putting a title on it. Oh, this we're a team, blah blah blah. It's gonna be where it's actually, you actually know when we come together, we are connected. Yeah, so
And
I'm working on that. I'm working on and being worked on, because myself, making sure that I stay connected, with you, with my husband, and those who are in my life, because I can disconnect really fast. So
mhm,
learning myself,
mhm,
which makes sense that certain things have been happening. Yeah, because he's working on me, right? He's
mhm.
working on me to make sure that I can be the best at this, whatever is about to happen.
And now that you say that, it just so my scripture today was Ephesians 4:28, and it says, "Let him who stole steal no longer, but rather let him labor, working with his hands what is good, that he may have something to give him who has need." And what you just said just stuck out so much to me, because we have so many people out here now that are like on these get rich quick schemes, and
Mhm.
they're basically robbing people because they have no idea what they're doing, but they're like taking people's money, and they haven't, and the Bible says don't do that. Like, you need to spend time in your trade, spend
Mhm.
time learning, because then you
Mhm.
will be able to give the knowledge that people need.
Mhm.
But you can't just go out there and start just doing stuff. Like, you gotta have a plan, you gotta have some structure, you gotta go through some things. And I think a lot of times when people hear, like we talk about, like when people hear, oh, the God Lord said I need to do this and the Lord said I need to do that. Yeah, he might have told you that, but that don't mean that you need to do it right away. Like, you gonna, what he's probably doing is giving you like some preemptive type notion that something's about to come down the pipeline for you, and it's going to
Mhm.
be painful and it's going to hurt. But after you get done, the two most painful things that I've endured in my life is parenting and being married. But guess what? I
Mhm.
believe my ministry is in that now,
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
had to be, and he didn't want me to stand up and talk about it and try to give all this information out,
Come on.
robbing people of their ability to feel peace and joy, when I hadn't really found out how to have peace and joy and be
Mhm.
content. So you go to the trainings, and then you practice what you've
Mhm.
learned, and then you're able to give. And when you give in that way, you will begin to see results. You'll begin to see people say, so it's not even for me a monetary thing so much. It can be.
Yeah.
But what are you giving people? Are you robbing them of their joy and their peace because you don't even know what you're talking about?
Mm. And what I heard Eric Thomas say today is the real money is made from a skill, right? So knowing your skill, like
Yes.
crafting your skill. They say in order to be an expert, it takes like 10,000 hours, right? So how many, when you looking at yourself, how many hours really have you invested in yourself? He even talked about like in a day, you should be studying your craft like 2 to 4 hours. And people like, how do
Mhm.
I have 2 to 4 hours to study my craft? Put that phone down, put the TV down, right? And maybe you don't
Put the
have
plates down.
all, man, all of that, all of that. And maybe you don't have it all at one time, but get it in where you can.
Hmm.
If you look at, he talked about like looking on your phone will tell you you spent XYZ amount of time on your phone, on social media or whatever. If it's more than 4 hours, 4 hours, whatever, you could have been spending that time really studying,
Your
you know.
trade.
Yeah,
And actually, I think too, for me, okay, so like with me with parenting and marriage, right? I could get up in the morning and watch like a pod
that's what he
about
talked about too.
parenting
Yeah.
or marriage or whatever.
Hmm.
And that's like 30 minutes to an hour right
Hmm.
there.
Hmm.
You could spend the other hour practicing what you learned.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It's
That's a
not
part of your of refining your skill too.
exactly.
Not only just learning it, but then applying what you learned.
Yeah. Well, application is one of the biggest pieces, right?
Yeah.
Well, they both go hand in hand because you do need to learn it and then apply it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's not just, oh, I need these CEU hours, so I'm gonna take this course. No, really,
Mm-mm.
what is it? Like you say, yours is marriage, and children, right?
Parenting and all
Or
that. Yep.
parenting, right? So finding podcasts that really are breaking down some of the stuff that you need to know. You don't always have to go to, which they're good, right? Conferences. Those are good, but there's other ways to get the knowledge.
For
And
free.
then exactly. And then like you said, applying it. Like that's one of the hardest part. You can go and listen. I got tons of notes as I'm sure you do, but when do you actually apply it? And so sometimes that application only comes when you're doing the work, right? When you step out there and say, "Hey, I'm going to take on this job. It's going to give me a space where I can apply what I have learned." And that goes back to
Exactly.
sometimes us not even knowing as you are working in that, because it's something futuristically that you will need that for. A lot of times we don't look at that, right? Our
No.
purpose is in the now, whatever we're doing,
No, we
whatever
don't look at it
it
like
is.
that.
No, no. But that gave me a new perspective when he said
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm like, whatever you're doing now is setting you up. It
For your
really is.
purpose.
That's that part. Hmm.
And then eventually, if you follow that path long enough, not like getting so caught up in the fact that I'm not living in my purpose right now, but if you just follow the path of being obedient to whatever you're supposed to be doing in that time frame, you'll look up and realize, wow, all of this was building me to
Hmm.
finally be in my, like, it's going to eventually hit, but you can't skip steps. Like, you gotta go through the
Mm,
working. You gotta work. You gotta be broken down. You gotta experience some things, because all of it is geared toward making you uh very much skilled in your craft, so that now, like it says, you can go and you can give people something. You have them some real stuff to give them, because you got to always look back on your darkest moment and know that there are people out there that feel that way, that feel that hopeless, and you had to fight through that so that you can give
mhm,
them hope.
mhm.
That
Yep.
should always be your mission when you're purpose driven. Who
Mhm.
can I provide hope to?
And guess what? He put them in your path every day while you are on your journey to you not knowing your purpose. We meet people every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
We go to the grocery store, wherever we go, it's somebody who needs what you got. And maybe it's not paid, but maybe this is part of the application piece, right? How would I deal with somebody who maybe I see them in the store and I just can tell something is, because if you a helper, you can sense a lot of times when something is going on with somebody or people are just drawn to you, right? Do you have time? Do you make the time outside of, well, I'm not getting a check, so I ain't got time to be talking to this person. You know, do you
Mm-hmm.
make the time, because that's time to work on you, for you to be able to apply whatever it is that you need to apply for yourself to grow.
I think too, like, even with you talking, I'm thinking people people need you to know this stuff, right? They need you to know it, because like you saying, like, they're missing these pieces. And I think a lot of times we also get caught up in, oh, I know it, so somebody else should know it. No, you know it so you can help somebody else. Like, you
Mhm.
have to realize that, like, it is literally people out there that wish they had the knowledge that you had. And I also feel like we need to step out of, like, half giving people information.
Mm.
Like,
What they say, gatekeeping.
like, or this whole, oh, I got 10 steps to give you, and I'm only gonna give you five right now, and then I need you to pay me $250 for me to give you the other five. And it's like, no, do you know how that's even more discouraging when you say that, and then somebody is in need of help, and now you put them from just feeling hopeless to now they feel desperate.
Hmm.
And now they're acting out of a place of desperation. Like, me personally, like, say I saw some people that were struggling with raising their kids, right? Up front, I want to come up with five ways to turn this around, like, right now for you. Like, not to where you're completely but like, let's find something to eat. It's almost like when you go in the hospital and you're in so much pain, and boom, they give you Dilaudid or something, and that's just to ease the pain. That might have not handled the problem, but it eased the pain, so that now I can work on you so that we can get rid of the problem. So I'm tired of people not giving you a pain reliever, because most of the time people are in pain.
So what are you saying? Like you give them the pain reliever, which may be the full steps, right? But
Yeah,
then they still need to work with you.
they still, like, it's more of a coaching thing. Like, hey, I'm gonna give you these steps
Gotcha.
because I know for a fact that you need help. Okay, because like we can go back to the pain. Okay, say your stomach is hurting and they give you pain and they do an ultrasound and they figured out that your gallbladder is messed up. Like, you're not going, like, you're gonna need surgery. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna need some more attention. And so for me, I think that it should be a system in place to where, okay, I'm gonna give you some pain medicine, I'm going to give you the surgery. We're going to walk through recovery and we're going to get you on the other side. Like, I feel like that's how it should be. Like, you're
Mhm.
struggling. I'm going to give you this to relieve this. And then we're going to have some steps to walk through, all of this. And once we get done with that, then now I'm going to like monitor you for maybe another 3 months or whatever, some check-ins with you, and then we'll see. And then after that, I feel like it should be a program to where, like, maybe over a year's time, 6 months to a year, you have worked the program, and now people see results. They feel comfortable that they're not going to slide back into their old ways, and now they are operating in that, because you basically have given them practical life skills that they can, alter based off of where they are, and see
Mhm.
better, and be better for it.
Mhm. So what you're saying though, I mean, because I'm just trying to see if you're saying that there still is room for you to make income from that person, right? Like,
Oh yeah, like, I
okay.
feel like, so for me, I feel like it should be like this. You market yourself and let people know, like, look, I know you're in pain and I know that you need some help. And these are the steps that are gonna get you the relief that you need. But it's temporary. It's a
So you're
temporary thing.
not hold back. Just give them the full 10 steps. If you say it's 10
Yeah.
steps, don't let that be the draw in, right? Oh, I got five. And then you need to meet with me for the other five.
No.
Yeah,
Give them
I'm going.
10,
Mm-hmm.
but let them know, like, stress the importance of, listen, I'm going to give you these 10 things, but, or five, or whatever it is, but this is a temporary fix to a permanent problem. You're going to go back to this problem if you don't stay with me. And
Yeah.
now that's when you give them the option of, okay, well, I'm good, I'm just going to take 10 steps and I'm good. Because they're going to realize with them 10 steps, they're going to be okay for a minute, but just like with pain, it comes back. And then they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like, what's going on? And so then that's when you say, I have this program that you can become a
Mm-hmm.
part of, that's going to help not only implement those steps, but solidify those steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I get you. Yeah. Yeah, the draw in. Like the draw
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of times is I'm gonna bait you in, right? I'm gonna give you a little bit. But I believe like when you know, and when that person, just as you have an assignment or purpose, that other person does too, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
they're assigned or purpose to you. And if that's the case, they're gonna come to you for what you have. You
They
know,
will.
they'll find the funds, they'll figure out because you have the answer that they need. So both parties have a responsibility, as we were talking, right? You got to know your skills. You got to be able to get them what they need. If they're going to pay you, make sure that you're giving them the best so that they can become the best, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's constant skill work. That's constant building of your skill. And for them, then it is the implementing of what you're giving them and then paying for what you need. Because there is a need, there is a need. When I was in grad school, I used to think that, people should get therapy for free. I was like, yeah, I did. I was in grad school. I didn't know no better.
You
And
didn't
then
know,
one of
yeah.
my colleagues was like, No, because they won't value it.
Right.
If they
Yeah,
don't
no.
have nothing to pay or add, right? Even sometimes it could be bartering, right? But you got to give something in order to get
Get
something.
yeah.
Otherwise, you're not going to appreciate what it is that you're getting. And then I quickly found out once I finally started doing therapy, and this is not a knock on anybody who receives like Medicaid or free, you know, medical assistance. It's not to knock anybody. I'm telling what my experience was that a lot of people who received the free insurance were the ones who weren't showing up for their appointments. You know why? They weren't invested in it. It cost them zero. So if they didn't show up, because it's not going to hurt my pockets if I don't show up. So forget about you that I just took an hour that you could have spent with somebody else. No, that's it has to be somebody is you're paying something. You gotta some kind of way you gotta feel it a little bit.
I think you're so right about that because me personally, I do have through the VA, I do get my counseling for free. But one thing I will tell you is that you have to be way more intentional. You have to be way more intentional. You have to be way more sure of yourself that I'm going to do this because nobody's forcing me to do it. Ain't no money coming out of my pocket. So, I mean, like, I did it for me. And when I put me first, it
Mhm.
didn't matter if I was paying $200 or $0. I'm going because
Yeah,
I need this.
yeah, yeah.
I need this. And I think that it's definitely, like you're saying, it's way more of a challenge when it's being offered for free because people don't look at it as being serious. It's more like mandated. I don't look at my care like that though. I look at it like it's I need it.
Right,
I don't need anybody telling me that I need it. I know that I need it.
right,
For me, it's like taking a shot or a pill that you need for high blood pressure or something. For me, I have to go. I have made it in my mind that if I'm so dedicated to my counselor yells at me and fuzzes at me all the time because I'll be out. Like recently I was at Six Flags and she got on the phone with me and I was outside. She was like, "Where you at?" And I was like, "I'm at Six Flags." She's like, "Girl, and you on this call with me instead of enjoying your family?" I was like, "That's how serious I take it."
yeah,
And it like I usually nothing really gets in the way. Like it has to be something. It's just like with us. Like this for me is therapy. This for me is medication. This for me is life. It's everything. So those kind of things, I don't care if I gotta pay this amount or it's absolutely free. I'm gonna take it serious either way
mm-hmm,
because for me, I love what it does for me.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't have medical coverage right now, but I'm looking for a therapist, and I know I'm gonna have to pay. I mean, I know what I charge for therapy, right? But
Mm-hmm.
because it's worth it for me, it's what I need, I'm gonna pay it. So I'm gonna show up, right? I'm investing. I already know it's gonna be a pretty price to pay, but it's an investment. And when
And
you know
you,
it's an investment, right? When it's an investment in yourself, you're willing to do that. But you got to know that, it's you got to know that this is something that I need. And I feel like because that coinage could have went somewhere else, I'm for sure not going to be one who, and most people charge a fee if you don't make your appointment or whatever. I don't know how people do it, because I get people who just don't cancel. You're gonna get charged, right? Oh, okay. And you didn't
it's
cancel.
fine.
That's what I say. It's fine for me because evidently, you want to just give me free money.
You're not taking it serious.
You're not taking it
And
serious.
obviously, people like that, just me personally, I don't have any clients right now, but you would only have to do that to me like 2 times before I probably cut you off my client list
Well,
because you're
that's why
showing me
you
that
put
you're
a
not serious.
that's why you put a notice in place. Like I'll only deal with this in so many words for one time or two times, or
Yeah.
how many times, and then I'm gonna move on because that time could have been for somebody else or myself, right? Regardless if you paying me every time. No, why waste? I'm not gonna waste your time, and I'm not gonna waste mine.
Mm-mm. You're not ready. You don't
Yeah.
want this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna keep like enabling you to make you feel like it's okay for you to keep doing this. I'm just not gonna do that. Like when you get ready, come holler at me. Until
Mm-hmm.
then, nah, we
Right.
good.
Yeah, I get very few. I get very few now, but this is years in the game. So in the beginning, yeah, you have to really show them that you're serious. And, you know, unfortunately, some people have to learn it.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Unfortunately.
but yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm really on to expansion and expansion differently than last year, because last year I was on really wanted to expand and enlarge my territory and blah blah blah, and I wasn't ready.
I'm trying to think, do I remember that? I'm thinking I remember it
Yeah, I
briefly, like all these things. And it was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah,
okay, let me
and I
just
was trying to make it happen
yeah.
instead of just be right. Like I'm still the PPP, quiet as it's kept. It's been kept quiet, but she about to bust out. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
when
time.
timing is right. And I don't
Mhm.
even think that that will be who I am. It's just who I am internally. I don't have
Mhm.
to have this title, right? I
Mhm.
don't have to have, oh, I'm so and so, so and so. No, she will come out as my skills, continue to be developed.
Yep.
So I was in a different space last year. It was more have to get seen, and I got to show that I have all these things, or I got to be the speaker. And all of that is going to come in time. I know it is, right? But if that's 10 years later, let me develop the skill. So when I'm up there, I'm giving the best of me.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's where I've learned in my quiet time that I could get up there and speak, I could, but would it be the best? Right. I want to give my all. And
Are
that
you
means
ready for
that
that? Mm-hmm.
yeah, I still got to do some study. I still got to do some things to where I feel that I'm going to deliver the best to those who are placed in front of me. And so right now
Mm-hmm.
it's really like, you know, developing the practice, like building that out. So that's where my skill work is being developed on.
And I think it's what opportunities are being afforded to you right now. And that's when you say living in the now. That's what you do. You look around. Are you being offered speaking engagements right now? You know what I'm saying? All
Mhm.
those things. And it's not saying that you don't won't ever do it, but what is opportunity saying right now?
Yeah, that's key, right? If that was for me, I ain't turning it down now. If somebody wanted me to do a speaking engagement, depending.
Right.
If it's the right opportunity, and I believe if it comes down my pathway or your pathway, that most times that is the right opportunity, right? They know what they need. They came to you for a reason. Okay. So I wouldn't turn it down, but I know then that I would be able to speak to that crowd that I'm supposed to, or deal with that crowd.
To me, depending on how frequent it is, that's what lets you know if you need to be making a direction towards that. So, say it's like just one time, that might be practice. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But if
Hmm.
it starts to be something that's like, oh, okay, I'm speaking here and now I'm speaking there, now that window of opportunity has opened up for you to become a speaker. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, so there are going to be sporadic opportunities in order for
Hmm.
you again to practice your trade, to refine
Yeah.
your trade, to
Hmm.
fix this and fix that, but it might not mean that you need to just step out there. But when things start getting
Hmm.
more consistent and things
Right.
start picking up, then that's when you can start to say, oh, I think it's time for me to step out and do this.
That's good. That I really believe that wholeheartedly, right? No.
Mm-hmm.
And last year I was more so pursuing it. When it pursues you, then you know, right?
Right.
Okay, somebody asked you to speak at this. Yeah, let me go practice, right? Why would I turn down that opportunity?
Right.
Like you say, as it becomes more of a thing, then that lets you know, oh, you are getting skilled in that, right? That somebody saw and they want you.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And you just keep it until then. And I always just be like, oh, let me practice my speaking. So if somebody, I don't do that anymore. I don't think about that, because I am at a place right now in my life that if the opportunity presents itself, then the resources and everything that I need to make that good is
Mm,
gonna also be there for me too.
I agree. I was there last year. Like, let me practice. That was the whole thing of doing Tony Talks. I thought, right? I'm thinking I'm practicing for me to speak, be a speaker. That's what I told myself. I thought that's what God has said, but that ain't what God has said. That was what I said.
Right.
This platform
Mm-hmm.
so that I can learn how to speak. What? You know how to speak.
Right. How about you make again? It goes, our purpose goes outside of us
Mm-hmm.
because it's bigger than us. So
Mm-hmm.
he's not going to keep it that simplistic when he asks you to do something. We think that way, but he does not do things that way. It's not that. It's always bigger than what we think. Like,
It's just
you
crazy
know,
when I think like how I was thinking. I'm like, how did you even think that? But yet and still, it served its purpose, right?
right?
It's helping in the assignment that at some point is happening.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Katie just gave it here.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I agree, and I think that, oh God, it's, I think when you get older, the older you get, the more you start to see life. You it's a blessing and a curse that we are that we are mortal beings, because it makes us feel like we need to speed up everything because
Yeah.
we don't have enough time and all these things. But one thing that I'm beginning to realize is that, as hard as it may seem, whether you die at 20 or you die at 100, whenever you leave this earth, you're going to have done exactly what it was. That it might not be what you wanted to do or what your people around you wanted you to do, but it's going to be exactly what God wanted you to do.
Hmm. And then at in the end, that's what counts, right? Like we as humans, I need to do this right now. Because it's about you, right? I need to do this. And that's what I learned from last year, for me to slow down, whatever is going to happen. If it's meant for you, it won't miss you.
It's not gonna miss you. It's
you
not
know,
gonna miss
it
you.
may be later on. It may be for a later time, but that's okay. You'll be prepared for it whenever it is supposed to happen. Oh, Lord Jesus. I'm talking to myself. Some things
It's
just take
going to happen.
long, though.
They do. I literally was talking to Kaden about that the other day, about like not having things instantly granted to us and how that makes us feel when it's not,
Mm-hmm.
and how almost you get this spirit of uh like depression and like not wanting to finish and all these things. It like falls on you.
Irritation, agitation. I'm ready to just go right now,
Give up.
and I don't care. Right? Yeah.
Quitter spirit,
Mhm.
impatience, all these things fall on you. But what I'm realizing is that's not beneficial. It's not beneficial for you to get to a place to where you just cannot just accept what is.
Because
Don't
it's like what you said earlier, it's not skipping steps.
don't
Embrace every step. I mean, speak for myself. I want to skip steps so I can get to. No, you're already to. You where you need to be.
you right, because if you skip steps, just like in a math problem, if you skip a step, you're gonna get
You're
it
gonna have
wrong
to
and you
come
have to
back.
go back and do it again. So
Mm-hmm.
you might as well just stay in it. stay in it. Just stay where you are. And now I'm
Yeah.
talking to myself. Stay where you are and know that where you are might have a lot of heartache and pain.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen the other side of that, then it's not time for you to move. Like, just know.
That's the difficult part though. That's the difficult part because if like sometimes when you don't know, why am I still in this step? Well, I mean, I know people say because you haven't passed the test or you haven't done this or that. That's understood, right? But sometimes you don't know what that part is still, like what you are waiting on.
Well, you might not, it might not even be you needing to do anything and God needing to do everything.
Mm,
So he might have you in a holding pattern, just like you'll have somebody waiting at a stoplight. And if they go, then they'll get ready to, somebody is about to run the stop sign and hit them. You know what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? So sometimes the delay has nothing to do with us and everything with him working out all the details
mm-hmm. But then
for
it works
us.
for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it still works for you. Yeah. Like I told God, you take too long sometimes. You be you be taking too long. But
He do.
give me an understanding. Let me know, and at some point you understand. You'd be like, if you would have went just 1 second earlier, there would have been an accident, right? Or you see somebody else have an accident, you'd be like, oh, that could have been
Oh,
me. Right.
yep.
Yeah. So I get it. But then the human side, just be like, whew,
Mm-hmm.
that's rough.
Mm-hmm.
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 Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah. But we have to learn how to endure.
And just really just be, I am really working on that. Just being in the now, being present instead of,
Mindfulness.
yeah, wanting it to be like out in the present. Okay, the sun is out slightly, it's not at least gloomy any longer. But I'm looking to the future when I can have sun almost every day. But that's not helpful for me in the now, because in the
No.
now it is depressing. It's like, when is it gonna happen?
Yep.
What's going on? All these
Yep.
things, right? So being present and just embracing, guess what? At least you're able to see this and experience this. It could be 5 feet of snow out there. You do know where you live, right? You know what I'm saying? That whole mindfulness piece is so important. Just being
Yes.
it
Hmm.
being thankful for what you have now.
It takes away some of those negative thoughts that can
Mm-hmm.
come looming
Mm-hmm.
if you don't stay present and in the moment. Just
Cause I
stay present.
because I walked outside this morning and I said, okay, well, I didn't need a coat. I'm thinking like it's 70 degrees. I'm mad about that. That is 70 degrees. But in Chicago, it could be
That's good.
30, right?
That's
So
good.
shifting of perspective that in a couple months, if you still here, it will be much colder and you'll be wishing for that 70.
70
So
degrees.
embrace what you have now. You don't have a coat on, you're able to just walk out here, no shoes on your feet, whatever. Embrace that.
Embrace that. So today
Yeah.
your assignment is to go outside and just embrace the sun. Take some breaths in and blow them out in the sun
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and
Mm-hmm.
enjoy that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just breathe and stop being anxious. Oh, that was in this morning's what was it? What did I read? Plan, Bible plan. Like not fretting, not worrying,
Mm.
right? Yeah.
Mm.
Not being anxious.
Whew.
Cause in due season, right? In due season. There is a thing called due. It's going to happen.
It's
Yeah.
gonna happen right
Mm-hmm.
when it's supposed to happen, and that's what God operates in due season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep,
So I like how we ended. That was good. That was
it
good.
was
It
good.
it really helped me. I feel even better because
Good.
I wasn't feeling that great today, you know, but I feel hopeful.
There you
Hmm.
go.
Yeah.
And guess what? That hope is what's gonna help you to get through today.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, along with these clients, right, and dealing with them. That
Yeah.
always helps me to get through too, because I'm helping somebody. I'm
Yep.
actually walking in my assignment, right?
Yes, you are. I can't wait to be walking in mine. I just can't wait, girl.
Well,
Because
come
I
on now.
can because it's not time, but I'm saying like I'm excited for that time.
Yeah, no, no, I get it. I get it.
Hmm.
I know, and yeah, do season.
Due season. Due
Hmm.
season. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that was a great talk.
It wasn't a talk, friend. It was.
Hmm.
It was a really good talk.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like they always are. Yeah.
Yes, yes, they are. They go from one to this to that, but all necessary.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Very much so. We're pouring it out. And I think we do a good job with that. Whatever comes up, we talk about it. So
That's right.
very good.
Okay.
Very
So
what Tabitha say? Very good. Very, very, very good. Very good. Very
that's
good.
what she said.
Yeah.
Who is that that says, "Oh, that was so." Oh, that's Shantia Deja. That was so good. That was
It
so
was so so so
good.
so
Yeah.
good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and necessary. It was, since we missed last week. Now we missed last week, but we still connected last
Yeah,
week.
we did.
Yeah.
We did.
So y'all just missed. That's all.
I'll just miss it. Sometimes y'all gonna miss. That's okay. Cause
Yes.
it's okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we'll be back. Facebook, I'm not sure, if we'll be back next week on Facebook, but we'll be definitely be back on YouTube.
YouTube.
So like and subscribe, Tony Talks.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on Facebook, you can actually hit the link and you'll be able to subscribe. And then we have, go ahead, Shiante. Because do y'all have a specific time that
No, now we just kind of like we try to
oh,
keep it on Mondays. That's pretty much what we try to keep it. Mondays the time varies. But we have my husband and I have our own uh podcast as well called The Bailey Effect. It is on
mm,
YouTube. You can like, share, and subscribe to that. Where we go into a little bit more detail about marriage and raising children and especially raising children that play sports or are involved in some type of extracurricular activity. So we try to go through the highs and lows of what that looks like in today's world. So if you have kids or if you're married or if you just want to support, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Bailey Effect.
all right. And then y'all talk about like dating. Y'all talk about unique
Yeah.
things, right? Like a lot of probably couples need to do more of the dating, like the intentional dating.
Yep.
So, that it's a need for that. And then y'all sometimes show what y'all do.
Sometimes we show what we do, yeah. And sometimes we'll just comment about it on our next like talk. Whether we do a lot. We do family movie nights, we do date nights, we do just trying to normalize family, really, in a society where so many things are defined as family. But just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like giving an example of what we think family is and trying to share that and make sure, so some people don't know, so just try to give them a image of what we think family is.
Mm-hmm. And that makes sense that both of us are marriage and family. We both went for marriage and family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so different perspectives on what that looks like, and they give the Bailey effect message of what
Yeah.
family, marriage, raising children is. So join the Bailey, subscribe to the Bailey effect.
Yes. And now we don't have the fancy setup like Tony here, so you got to give me a minute to upload new
Said
episodes.
what?
Mine is not connect. Ours is not connected like how yours is connected. We don't have that, so it doesn't
What?
go straight to
StreamYard?
YouTube. Yeah, we don't
Oh,
have.
StreamYard. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
you can do it for anyway. I told you you could do it for free.
I don't remember, but
I did
I
tell
did
you.
when because I was trying to share it on here, and when I went there, I did see how it said sign in for free. So I'll look into that.
Yeah, y'all
Yeah,
definitely can do that. Yep.
and then I don't have
Okay.
to worry about posting. So be good.
Exactly. All right, y'all. So we will see y'all next week if the Lord says the same, and don't come back before then.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll
Oh
see y'all.
no, next week I won't see y'all because I'm gonna be at the beach.
Well, you could do it from the beach for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I could. We'll go over coordinate because she's also we going down there for softball. It's not just the beach, so I might be
Oh,
at games and all that
o-
kind of stuff. So
okay. Well,
we'll
then no,
come up
we
with
can we
something.
can skip that. We can skip
Yeah,
next week. It's fine.
I'll be able to tell you better like when we actually get there what open spots I got.
Okay.
We
So
might be
y'all,
able to squeeze something in.
we may go next week. If not, it'll be the following week. It's
Hmm.
something that we do. We try and be really consistent with it weekly, but things do come up. It's summertime,
Hmm.
and things happen, but y'all will get some more of our conversation.
Absolutely.
All right. See your friend and
See
see
you,
y'all
friend.
friends or
Yes,
Facebook friends and YouTube friends. We'll see y'all.
real
All
soon.
right. Bye.
Bye bye.